Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about lips. No, I'm totally kidding. We're talking about concealing the brows. For whatever reason you might want to be concealing brows, this is the tutorial for you. I'm going to teach you the process, the steps, the products that I use, and how to make them look like this for whatever reason. If you want to be drawing something over it, or if you just want to leave it blank, just keep watching and I'll show you how to do it. One of the first things that you want to be aware of is that you have oils on your face, and you want to make sure before you start concealing your brows that you get all those oils off of your face. You can use witch hazel, you can use a toner, and just make sure that anything from like moisturizers, hydration products, just the natural oils of your skin and from your body are kind of taken off. I've already done that with a cotton swab, and I used some toner and took it all off. Now for me, my favorite product to use is a glue stick. There are so many other adhesives that you can use out there. This, and even using those, I keep coming back to this. I love it. The thing I love about the glue stick is that it's water soluble, so it comes off so easily. It doesn't rip out brow hairs. You can honestly just take water and rub over it, and it just starts to dissolve right then and there. Love, 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 love that. One of the reasons I like using a color is because I can actually see where it goes. And it stays that color for a little bit, but then dries clear. Now, direction of brow, how to cover the individual hairs. This is also a technique that a lot of people kind of hold to themselves as far as, no, always brush up. No, always go this way. No, always make sure you get both ends. Honestly, I've tried them all, and I love two the best. Brushing up and then just start piling it on. So we're actually gonna do both on each side, okay? For me, I just use the glue stick and then I go straight in with powder. If you are picky or finicky or that doesn't work for you and you really want to press them down, you can use a spatula and push, 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 push. I've just noticed that the more that I push, the more stringy it gets. And so I like not to mess with it too much, okay? So the first one we're gonna do is where the brows are just to this side. The whole reason that this works is because you are taking the individual hairs and pasting them to your face, then putting powder over that to set so it's not so sticky, and then putting makeup on top of that. It looks more realistic when you put the makeup on top of a completely glued down brow, not one that has maybe a few hairs left over right there. That's never happened before. Of course, it's gonna happen today. So I kind of go over it a couple times. One thing that I used to play around with was I'd put this on, powder it off, do another coat. I've not found that to be as necessary anymore. So just kind of get it all down, and don't raise your eyebrows while you're putting it on, because then it comes down. I don't know, just a little tip, just a little tip. So, and you want to make sure, as much as you can, that it's smooth. You don't have any clumps. That's also where the spatula can come into play. If this is your first time doing it, you might be a little bit clumpy, and you do want this to be smooth. For Halloween, maybe, you want to draw on a brow and you want it to be seamless. You don't want it to be like going all over the place, right? For me, I really like to use Ben Nye, the neutral set, but you can get it in so many different colors. Ben Nye's products are amazing, so I highly recommend them. I use a powder puff. I have not found this to ruin my puff to the point of where I can't wash this and use this again. I just put it in a little lid, and it gets everywhere, so be expecting it. Floofy brush. And then I kind of feel to see if all stickiness is gone, and I also feel for the texture. So right here, it feels just like amazing skin. And I'm like, oh, I could do so much with that. Last night I just did the Evil Queen from Snow White, and it was just so awesome to be able to have no brows whatsoever and just to paint on that really high brow. All right, so right here, I can feel just a tiny bit of texture. So don't hesitate after you've glued it and then you've powdered it and you've brushed it off. You can go in again if you need to, okay? It's not gonna ruin anything. Nice. I have used a beauty blender. I have used a sponge that's less like fuzzy. So it's just all about finding something that can grab that powder and really disperse it on, okay? So that is one side nice and glued down. The reason some people I think like, and the reason I've liked to push them up is because it separates the hairs really, really nicely. And when they go up, it's almost as if you're not trying to get multiple coats of hair, because going this way, it's almost like some layers of hair. But I found that it still works, right? But for this one, you're just gonna push straight up. Make a nice funny face while you're doing it. Some people like how thin this can make the brows now. Instead of them kind of puffing ever so slightly, this will make them a little bit less like that, okay? But honestly, both work. And I'm using the Ben Nye, the neutral set, the colorless. I mean, unless you're really needing to push this in, the very first coat when it's like really sticky still, it's just a light touch that you put it on there. And you can kind of feel up against your face when it's still sticky. Awesome. All right, so those are two different ways how to get your brows all pasted down and set with powder. Now, we want to make it look a little bit more realistic that maybe we have no brows. So if you want to watch a video where I use it for like with natural skin color, go ahead and watch this one. That one is Bette Midler, and it is from Hocus Pocus, the Sanderson sisters. It's Winifred, and you can see how I conceal my brows to make it look like she just has no brows and it's her normal face, and you really don't put on any brows after that. However, if you want to see a look where I use an actual color, like I use these water activated paints, then go ahead and watch this one. So even though this is water soluble and this is water activated, I have found that I can still go over these bad boys and not mess it up when I do a brush, dip it in water, do this, and draw on those brows. It does not mess with it, okay? Does that make sense? All right, so now I'm going to show you what I use to kind of give my face the absolutely no brow look, but with natural skin. I have found this awesome product. It's my favorite. The Age Rewind. It's from Maybelline. It is very, very thick in its consistency. It is moisturizing, which is why I tell clients that it's a great product to use underneath their eyes, but that a little goes a long, long way. So even though you might be using something that's good and great and moisturizing, it still can build up down there, and you don't need a lot of product down there. It just starts to build up and look cakey. But for this purpose, it actually becomes my best friend. I want it to be thick. I want it to really, really cover and conceal. Personally, I do this first and then I put on my foundation. So, just kind of squeeze up or squeeze it, turn it. I like to get a lot of product out there, okay? And then, let me get the excess powder away though. And then I start stippling this on. Again, this does not ruin, even though I have glue on my face and powder and all of those kinds of things, I can still put this on. Now, anytime you see texture, I'm starting to see some texture with this one. Don't be afraid to go back in with your glue stick. It's totally possible. So I would just take my glue stick, wherever I put it, here it is. And I would just lift up my brows for this one. So they're already glued. Smooth that on again. You just want it to be smooth as skin. And then powder it off again. Now, after they're already powdered, this time I'm gonna go in and push a little bit more just because we had that issue. I'm glad that actually happened on camera because this is a great thing for troubleshooting. Like, mine didn't go on like that. What do I do now? Here's a great example. And I do this all the time, you guys, and it still happens, and it's okay. It's just nice to know, what do I do now? You know what I mean? Okay, I'm liking that a lot more. Now, obviously, we've only put that concealer right there on our face. It needs to go, this color needs to extend in other places. So if you're like, that still doesn't look natural. Well, if I were to just take this product and just go like that around my cheek, that doesn't look natural either. You know, you can tell where something has been placed, right? So we want to take our other foundation color and we want to blend that in. So I'm just gonna cover up all the powder. Perfect. Now you can go in with a sponge, you can go in with a brush. I'm personally going to use a brush today. I really like this one from Real Techniques. I'm gonna be using my favorite foundation ever, Frankie Rose. I talk about it all the time on Instagram, on YouTube, on my blog. I love this stuff. It is just amazing. So put some on the back of my hand. Habit being a makeup artist. And go ahead and grab this. Now I did choose a slightly lighter color of concealer than my foundation. That way, when you put this on, it won't look still like you have two brown clumps going over, but it's going to seamlessly blend into whatever color. Okay, so there you have it. The no brow face. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a thing, but maybe you're too scared to pull the trigger and really shave them off, and this can be something that you can just do to stay with the times, be with the trend, right? All right, so there it is. Now notice in certain spots, do you see that right there? Little tiny bit of texture, little tiny bit of texture, little tiny bit of texture. If you wanted to, go at it with a third round. Conceal, conceal, conceal. If you want to see my video on how I extend my hairline up, go ahead and go to this one. It's my Freddie Mercury one, and his hairline needed to go back pretty far. And I started thinking, I'm like, well, if I can do this to my brows, sure, this is a ton more hair, but I bet it could still work. And it totally does. So if you want to see how I can transform my hairline using the same exact process with the glue stick, with the powder, with the concealer, then going in with the foundation. And then I just kind of like, if it needs to, you know, bring this hair down just a little tiny bit so this one looks even further back. Or I also did it with the Queen, where hers went way back. Such an awesome tool to use. It just opens up doors of things that you can do to create different costumes, to create different characters. It's just way fun. And the possibilities are really endless. So don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up here, and that way you'll see my next video. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, compliments, go ahead and leave them down below, and I will see you in the next video.